The Biden administration continues to drop the ball, which is making many states furious, especially the state of Texas and their governor, Greg Abbott. However, because of what is now going on within Texas and against the federal government, we now have Mexico going up against Texas and saying they do not support what Texas is doing. So, we're going to see a lot of fights, a lot of discussions, a lot of things are going to change over the next several months. What I can tell you right now is that many people are looking at President Biden and his administration to do more. However, according to reports, and I'm going to show you these reports in just a moment, they are saying President Biden and the Biden administration is doing less than ever before. I'll break down what's going on and why we are now seeing that deportations are not even happening because the Biden administration is not even filing the paperwork. So I will address that in just a moment. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So yes, it is true. The Biden administration is not even filing the paperwork. Look at this. It says Biden administration fails to file paperwork causes 200,000 migrant deportation cases to be tossed, which they are calling a serious concern. One of the things I can tell you is that this is nothing new. Every administration has dropped the ball eventually, at least a little bit. But I want to show you these numbers, okay? Because these numbers are actually pretty substantial. Look at this. It says, so an NTA is called, it's actually a notice to appear. That's what an NTA is. That's what we're going to discuss because the NTAs have not been filed. Look at this. It says cases dismissed because of NTAs not being filed jump when Biden took office from 6,482 in 2020 to 33,802 cases in 2021. Down here it says the amount of no NTAs ballooned to 79,592 in 2022 before falling to 68,869 in 2023. So far in 2024, we have had 10,598 deportation cases that have been dismissed due to not having a notice to appear. This is according to the report. It says between 2014 and 2020, less than 1% of deportation cases were dismissed because of NTAs not being filed with courts. In Biden's first 3 years, that figure was close to 8.4% of cases. So President Biden, his administration, is failing to the tune of about 8 to 9 times. That is absurd. Now, a notice to appear is very important because as people come into the United States and they are apprehended, one of the things they get is an NTA. It's a notice to appear. That they have to come and appear in front of a judge and they get their opportunity to explain why they should not be deported. However, in many cases, an NTA is given, but the date in most of these cases is out several months, potentially years. And so what we're hearing now is the Biden administration, not only are they pushing these notice to appears out farther, but in many cases, they're not even filing them. So those cases, they never actually come in front of a judge. And so people will never get deported. But I want to show you something. Okay, I want to play you this because again, I think this is very important what this person's saying. Listen to this.
The U.S.-Mexico border is no longer the U.S.-Mexico border. It's the U.S. world border. People from all over the world are exploiting the border here to make entry into the United States illegally.
So they're saying the U.S.-Mexico border is no longer the U.S.-Mexico border. It's the U.S. world border because now millions of people are trying to enter into the United States. Mexico is actually to a point right now where they are almost at capacity in certain areas. In some places, based off of what I have heard from some of my sources, some of these cities near the U.S.-Mexico border, they are so full that there's no rooms at hotels. People are sleeping in the streets. These encampments that people were staying in, again, at capacity. And we were hearing before that the Mexican government was going in and trying to clear out those encampments and tell people to move more south to get away from the U.S.-Mexico border. But again, the reason why I bring all this up is because the Biden administration is allowing more and more people into the United States, and it's causing a lot of concerns. Just this morning, I talked about how other states, not just Texas, Oklahoma, Ohio, other states as well, they are on the verge of potentially joining in with Texas and getting to the point where they are going to arrest people that they are suspected of entering the United States illegally. And then if they can prove that, yes, they did enter the U.S. illegally, then they will try to deport them. The concern, though, is what Mexico just said recently. Mexico is actually slamming Texas over their immigration law. And they say they will not accept repatriations from a state after the Supreme Court of the United States ruling. Now, I want to actually read you their statement, though. Look at this. Okay, look at this. It says, Mexico recognizes the importance of a uniform migration policy and the bilateral efforts with the United States to ensure that migration is safe, orderly, and respectful of human rights, and it is not affected by state or local legislative decisions. In this regard, Mexico will not accept, under any circumstances, repatriations by the state of Texas. So Mexico is now not even going to participate with Texas. They are not going to accept what Texas is doing, and that is going to put a lot of pressure on the federal government, on the Supreme Court, and on Texas. But there's something else that's going on right now that you need to understand. This is huge because this is exactly what many Republicans said was going to happen. Republicans are worried because now a top Democrat in a tight Senate race is backing citizenship and voting rights to millions of illegal immigrants. Now, they actually had something to say, and this is from the Representative David Trone. Okay, I want to read you this. It says, we need to welcome all 12 million folks here now that are DACA, TPS, and undocumented. Make them citizens and move forward. They all have the rights everybody here should have also. DACA is it says right here, Deferred Action Childhood Arrivals, okay? And TPS is the Temporary Protected Status. He believes all those 12 million people, according to his number. However, what's interesting about this, we're now getting new reports that this number is closer to 20 million illegal immigrants. Those are DACA and TPS. They're saying that 12 to potentially 20 million people should get citizenship and voting rights. But let me just break this down to you. Let's say we allow 20 million people, or I'm just going to go with 10 million because it's an easy number, and we know for sure there's 10 million people. If there's 10 million people here in the United States, Republicans are not wanting to give them any additional benefits. Democrats are. Out of those 10 million people, my guess is, and because according to reports, they say 7 out of 10 people that come into the United States as immigrants are likely to vote with Democrat the very first time around. If we were to give 10 million people voting rights, you can vote for the president, you can vote for the Senate, you can vote for your state representatives, you can vote for your governor, your mayor, all those things, right? If we give them the right to do that, 7 out of 10 are going to vote for Democrat. 3 out of 10 will vote for Republican. Okay, just simple math. So if we have an additional 10 million people, 7 million are going to vote for Democrats. If you remember what happened last time, when President Biden and former President Donald Trump went head to head, well, there were a lot of votes. There were 80 million votes for roughly for each one. Now, if you factor in an additional 3 million for Republicans and an additional 7 million for Democrats, that puts a lot more voters in the Democrats' pool. Which, if you do that, the concern there is now we're allowing more Democrats or possible Democrats to come in, which are technically our legal immigrants, come in and start voting for who they want to be the president. Republicans are never going to go for this. But at the same time, some Democrats are worried that if we do this, then it's going to give Democrats more power, which is great for them The concern, though, is they're going to take it and go one step further and tax you guys so that you are making less money. You're going to take all that money and put it into more benefits for the lower income, for illegal immigrants, for trying to create more of a climate-friendly environment, right? Get rid of gas guzzlers and get electric vehicles in. But again, they're following a very specific agenda. Now, I'm not going to talk about that today, but just understand what's happening. More people are entering into the United States from other countries, from who knows where. And right now, we're seeing more and more lawmakers are discussing the possibility of, can we include these people into census, right? So that now we know, are they included into the United States Census and counted as a person in that city, which then would impact the state seats, the electoral college votes. But also, can we include these people and make them citizens, which then we could tax them, but at the same time, we are also including more people for Democrats. And again, Republicans will never go for that. So I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. All I can tell you is right now, there's a lot of stuff being said and a lot of speculation that, or what used to be speculation, is now turning into more of a actual event, where what Democrats were planning and what was being said is now looking like it's actually happening, where they are trying to create this, pretty much a pathway for citizenship, but this pathway is not supported by every single lawmaker. So we'll see what happens moving forward. All I can tell you is I will be here every step of the way. I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.